Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams with the evening news. The headlines. India calls for open, transparent, inclusive, rule-based global security architecture. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh meets his counterparts at Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting in Moscow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts virtually with IPS probationers, asks them to be alert and prepared to take on challenges. Supreme Court rejects review plea to postpone JEE and NEET on account of coronavirus crisis. Health Ministry reviews COVID-19 response in 15 high caseload districts of 5 states. Recovery rate in the country improves to 77.15%. And record area of over 1,095 lakh hectare covered under current Kharif season. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has reaffirmed that India is committed to evolution of a global security architecture which will be open, transparent, inclusive, rule-based and anchored in international laws. He was addressing the combined meeting of Defence Ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO), Commonwealth of Independent States (CIS) and Collective Security Treaty Organization (CSTO) member states in Moscow today. Mr. Singh said peaceful, stable and secure region of SCO member states, which is home to over 40% of global population, demands a climate of trust and cooperation, non-aggression, respect for international rules and norms, sensitivity to each other's interest and peaceful resolution of differences. He stressed on the need for institutional capacity to deal with both traditional and non-traditional threats, terrorism, drug trafficking and transnational crime. The Defence Minister said India unequivocally condemns terrorism in all forms and manifestations, as also its proponents. He said the adoption of anti-terror measures by the SCO Council to counter extremist propaganda and de-radicalization is a significant decision. Mr. Singh said India is thankful to the Russian Federation for organizing the annual anti-terror exercise peace mission, which has contributed to building trust and sharing of experience among defence forces. The Defence Minister said India will continue to support efforts of the people and government of Afghanistan for an Afghan-led, Afghan-owned and Afghan-controlled inclusive peace process. Mr. Singh said India is also deeply concerned about the situation in the Persian Gulf. He said India has vital interests and links of civilization with all states in the Gulf. The Defence Minister conveyed condolences to the families of those who perished from the COVID pandemic and sympathies to those whose lives were devastated. Mr. Singh congratulated the government and people of Russia for successfully managing the pandemic. He also applauded Russian scientists and health workers for spearheading the Sputnik V vaccine. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, has said that adequate arrangements have been put in place to counter any misadventure by China along the LAC in Ladakh. He was responding to queries on the sidelines of the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum.
We have our protocols in the way we want to ensure peace and tranquility along the borders. We have our border management protocols which have been signed between us and China right from 1993 onwards, and we have modified these protocols continuously. But of late we have been seeing some aggressive actions by the Chinese, but we are capable of handling these in the best suitable way. We have our tri-services, that is the Army, Navy and Air Force, capable of dealing with our threats along our frontiers.
Army Chief General Manoj Mukund Naravane concluded his 2-day visit to Leh today. General Naravane arrived at Leh yesterday and proceeded to forward areas to undertake a first-hand assessment of the situation along the line of actual control. He interacted with soldiers and local commanders deployed in difficult high-altitude forward areas. The Army Chief appreciated the high morale and standards of professionalism exhibited by the units in safeguarding territorial integrity. Later at Leh, General Officer Commanding-in-Chief Northern Command, Lieutenant General Y.K. Joshi and General Officer Commanding Fire and Fury Corps, Lieutenant General Harinder Singh, briefed him on the state of operational preparedness and on the logistics arrangements for sustenance of forces in winters. General Naravane expressed satisfaction at the efforts being made to ensure operational effectiveness and capability enhancement of the forces. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said the solution to the situation along the LAC in Ladakh has to be found in the domain of diplomacy. He was responding to queries at the online launch of his book, The India Way: Strategies for an Uncertain World. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, 3 terrorists were killed in an encounter that broke out between terrorists and security forces in Yadipura area of Patan in North Kashmir's Baramulla district today. According to police, a joint team of J&K Police, Army's 29 Rashtriya Rifles and CRPF launched a cordon and search operation at Yadipura area following intelligence inputs about the presence of terrorists in the village. As the joint team approached the spot, terrorists fired at them and armed forces retaliated, which resulted in the killing of 3 terrorists. 1 army officer was injured in the operation, who has been admitted in Army's 92 base hospital in Badami Bagh, Srinagar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked the Indian Police Service IPS probationers to be alert and always prepared for unexpected things. The Prime Minister was interacting with IPS probationers through video conferencing today during the Deekshant parade at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy in Hyderabad.
कांस्टेबलरी लेवल की इंटेलिजेंस पुलिसिंग के लिए बहुत आवश्यक होती है जी। इसमें कभी कमी मत आने देना। आपको अपने एसेट्स, अपने रिसोर्स, इसको जितना पनपा सकते हैं पनपा पर थाने के लोगों को बल देना चाहिए, उनको प्रोत्साहित करना चाहिए। लेकिन इन दिनों टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में सरलता से उपलब्ध है, इन दिनों जितने भी क्राइम डिटेक्ट होते हैं उसमें टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत मदद कर रही है। चाहे सीसीटीवी कैमरा फुटेज हो, चाहे मोबाइल ट्रैकिंग हो, आपको बहुत बड़ी मदद करते हैं। अच्छी चीज है।
Mr. Modi also stressed on the need for preventing youth from taking the wrong path at the early stage of life.
लद्दाख हो, बेली हो, करगिल हो, सचमुच में बहुत ही अच्छे लोग हैं, बहुत ही प्यारे लोग हैं और मुझे विश्वास है कि हम सबके प्रयासों से उनकी जो खुशनुमा जिंदगी है वो हम वापस ले पाएंगे। लेकिन आपने टेक्सटाइल किया हुआ है और कश्मीर की विशेष ताकत है और इसलिए जिस प्रकार के शॉल वगैरह वो हाथ से बनाते हैं, टेक्सटाइल का काम जो वहां होता है वो अद्भुत है। आप पुलिसिंग के समय भी मैं आपसे आग्रह करूंगा कि जहां भी आपकी ड्यूटी लगे, आप वहां की जो बहनें उनके छोटे छोटे समूह बनाइए और आप एक एक्स्ट्रा एक्टिविटी के रूप में यूनिफॉर्म के सिवाय उनके साथ घुल मिल करके ऐसे 5, 7, 10 ग्रुप बना दीजिए जैसी आपकी क्षमता। और हम लोग सामूहिक प्रयत्न से जो बच्चे गलत रास्ते पर चले जाते हैं उनको पहले से रोकने की दिशा में अब हमें काम करना है।
Mr. Modi asked the probationers to be proud of their uniform and said the human face of khaki uniform has been engraved in public memory due to the good work done by police, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic.
एक मानवीय चेहरा हमारी खाकी वर्दी का लोगों के मन में स्थिर हो चुका है। अब हम लोगों का जिम्मा है कि कोरोना वायरस के संकट के काल में भी जिस प्रकार से खाकी वर्दी का जो भीतर पड़ा हुआ मानवता का अंश था, जो कभी कभी टुकड़ों में दिखता था, वो एक संगठित स्वरूप में नजर आया है। ये बहुत बड़ी पूंजी है।
The Prime Minister said the IPS in their profession must always be alert and prepared for some unexpected things and asked them to speak to their near and dear like their teachers and to reduce stress. Earlier, as many as 131 IPS probationers, including 28 women, completed their 2-year-long training at the academy. Home Minister Amit Shah said Prime Minister Narendra Modi's inspiring speech at the IPS officers' Deekshant parade will surely boost the morale of the country's young officers. Mr. Shah said the Prime Minister's speech will guide them on how to strengthen police public relations. Conveying his best wishes to all these young IPS officers, Mr. Shah expressed hope that they will serve the nation with utmost dedication while ensuring its security and integrity. Mr. Shah expressed confidence that their commitment towards service will inspire youngsters to join the Indian Police Service. The Supreme Court today dismissed the pleas, including the one filed by ministers of 6 opposition-ruled states, seeking review of its August 17 order, which paved the way for holding NEET and JEE exams. A bench of Justices Ashok Bhushan, B.R. Gavai and Krishna Murari, which considered the pleas in chamber, also rejected the application seeking listing of the review petition in the open court. National Testing Agency, which conducts both the exams, is holding JEE main exams from the 1st to the 6th of this month, while NEET exams will be held on the 13th of September. One of the review pleas was filed by ministers from West Bengal, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Punjab and Maharashtra. The apex court had rejected a similar request by 11 students from 11 states on the 17th of last month. The Election Commission today said that announcement of schedule for the state assembly elections in Bihar and by-polls in different states will be done by the Commission at the appropriate time. A meeting of the Commission was held today regarding holding of by-polls due in various states. Presently, there are 65 vacancies due for by-polls in assembly and parliamentary constituencies, out of which there are 64 vacancies in the state legislative assemblies and 1 vacancy for parliamentary constituency. Considering that general elections to the State Assembly of Bihar required to be completed before the 29th of November this year, the Commission has decided to conduct all the 65 by-polls and the Assembly elections of Bihar around the same time. The Election Commission said one of the major factors in clubbing them together is the relative ease of movement of Central Armed Police Force and other law and order forces and related logistics issues. The 15th Finance Commission today held discussions with its Economic Advisory Council. The Finance Ministry said the meeting discussed a gamut of issues around GDP growth, tax buoyancy of the centre and states, GST compensation and fiscal consolidation. Specific issues relating to public expenditure on health, investment revival, recapitalization of the financial system and its impact on public finances were also discussed. The meeting was chaired by N.K. Singh, Chairman of the 15th Finance Commission. The Advisory Council felt the Finance Commission is faced with an unprecedented situation of uncertainties and will have to take a nuanced approach towards tax devolution to the states. The Ministry of Shipping has directed all major ports to procure or charter tugboats which are only made in India. All procurements being done by major ports will now need to be carried out as per the revised Make in India order. Shipping Minister Mansukh Mandavia said it is a step towards bolstering the revival of Indian shipbuilding and a big move towards Atmanirbhar shipping in Atmanirbhar Bharat.
देश में समुद्र तट कैसे आत्मनिर्भर बने, मैरीटाइम सेक्टर कैसे आत्मनिर्भर बने, उसके लिए हमने इनिशिएटिव लिया है। हमारे 12 बड़े बंदरगाह है, मेजर पोर्ट है और मेजर पोर्ट में छोटी वेसल्स मतलब टग की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है और ये टग देश में ही बने, उसके लिए हमने मंत्रालय के माध्यम से दिशा निर्देश जारी किया है और अगले दिनों में डिसीजन से देश की शिप बिल्डिंग इंडस्ट्रीज को बहुत फायदा।
Mr. Mandavia said the government will try to create an ecosystem for shipbuilding, ship repair, ship recycling and flagging in India. Mr. Mandavia said the ministry is aiming to promote Indian shipbuilding industry and also have discussion with some leading countries for Make in India shipbuilding. India has now the second largest road network in the world, being fueled by the tremendous growth in construction of expressways and highways. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari said this while addressing the 60th annual convention of SIAM through video conference today. He informed that the current rate of road building per day has averaged to 30 kilometers a day, with the highest being 40 kilometers per day of highways. Mr. Gadkari expressed confidence over achieving road safety targets in the near future. He said the automobile industry has progressed a lot in that direction. The minister noted that vehicle manufacturers have implemented regulations crucial to vehicle safety, such as crash norms, airbags, seatbelt reminder, and reverse parking assist. These regulations have brought the auto industry in India at par with the global auto industry. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India calls for open, transparent, inclusive, rule-based global security architecture. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh meets his counterparts at Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting in Moscow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts virtually with IPS probationers, asks them to be alert and prepared to take on challenges. Supreme Court rejects review plea to postpone JEE and NEET on account of coronavirus crisis. Health Ministry reviews COVID-19 response in 15 high caseload districts of 5 states. recovery rate in the country improves to 77.15%, and record area of over 1,095 lakh hectare covered under current Kharif season. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The centre has exhorted the states to proactively curb the chain of transmission and bring mortality below 1%. Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan today held a review meeting with the health secretaries of 15 districts across 5 states of Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh today. These 15 districts have been exhibiting higher active caseload, fatality rates and a surge in the COVID cases for the past 4 weeks. In addition to the state health secretaries, district collectors, municipal commissioners and other district functionaries also participated in the meeting. During the meeting, the states were advised to take steps on limiting and eventually breaking the spread of the infection by implementing stringent containment measures and active house-to-house case search. The states were also advised for effective monitoring of home isolation cases and early hospitalization in case of disease progression. Over 30 lakh people in the country have recovered from COVID-19 so far. In all, 66,659 patients recovered during the last 24 hours, taking the overall recovery number to 30,37,151. The overall recovery rate has also maintained its upward trend and has now reached 77.15%. The Health Ministry said the constant increase in recoveries has ensured that the actual caseload of the country is reduced and currently comprises only 21.11% of the total positive cases. The number of recovered patients is now over 3.6 times higher as compared to that of the active cases. Effective implementation of test, track and treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatality. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.74%. A total of 2,914 new confirmed cases of coronavirus have been reported in Delhi during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to over 1,85,000. The Delhi government has said over 1,61,000 people affected by coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 1,751 people have recovered. 13 deaths were also reported in the national capital, taking the toll to 4,513. Presently, the total number of active corona cases in the national capital is 18,842. Uttar Pradesh has more than 1,12,000 inmates in 71 prisons of the state, which is almost 25% of the total prison population in the country. Yet, there is not a single casualty of prisoners from coronavirus till date, and less than 2% of jail inmates and staff are now infected with the virus. In an exclusive interview with AIR, Director General Prisons Anand Kumar informed that a unique system of buffer zone of temporary jails has been created to stop the spread of the disease. A report.
Under the buffer system, every new inmate is put into temporary jail and only after coming negative in 2 corona tests, he gets entry in the regular jail. Director General Prisons Anand Kumar told AIR that the system has been appreciated widely and other states are also thinking to follow it.
इस व्यवस्था को बहुत अप्रिशिएट किया गया और कई राज्यों ने कहा कि इस व्यवस्था को हम भी अपने यहाँ रेप्लिकेट करेंगे, अडॉप्ट करेंगे। तो हमारे लिए चूंकि इतना बड़ी चुनौती है 1,12,000 बंदियों को मैनेज करना टेम्पररी और परमानेंट जेल्स के, तो इसलिए ये एक बफर व्यवस्था बहुत कारगर सिद्ध हो रही है।
Anand Kumar said that growing phenomena of depression due to the pandemic is a new challenge and to cope up with it, many interactive activities have been started for jail inmates.
बहुत सारे व्यापक हम लोग ने कदम उठाए हैं। साथ ही साथ हम लोग ये प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि जितना यथासंभव हम जेल के तंत्र के साथ मिल करके बंदियों के साथ समन्वय बैठाएं, उनकी मनोदशा को देखें। कई जगह पे स्काइप से परिजनों से बात करा रहे हैं, जहाँ जहाँ संभव होता है वीडियो कॉलिंग करा रहे हैं, जिससे कि बंदी में अवसाद घर नहीं करे।
More than 30 lakh masks were prepared by jail inmates in Uttar Pradesh, which is also a record, and jail inmates who have recovered from the disease are now going to donate their plasma to save the life of others. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
The Assam government has lifted weekend lockdown and night curfew. Chief Secretary Kumar Sanjay Krishna said this in a tweet. He, however, appealed to people to follow all the COVID-19 protocols. Earlier, the state government declared Saturday and Sunday lockdown across the state and night curfew on all days. Students of classes 9 to 12 are allowed to visit schools on a voluntary basis with written consent from parents. For guidance from teachers, higher educational institutions are allowed to operate only for research and unavoidable laboratory and experimental work only on issue of necessary guidelines by the Department of Higher Education. Mr. Krishna said that public transport will be allowed to operate from September the 7th with strict compliance of social distancing and other COVID-19 safety measures. With all educational institutions remaining shut due to the COVID-19 pandemic, civic-run schools in Mumbai have opted to go digital. Overcoming issues like lack of smartphones, no network connectivity and low attendance, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai is slowly and steadily moving to resolve each issue and ensure no child remains bereft of education due to this pandemic. Here is a report.
Over 2.8 lakh students are enrolled in Mumbai's 1100 schools that are run by the city's civic body. To ensure that their education continues unhindered in these tough times, the Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai started online classes in June this year. Special training was given to over 21,000 teachers to conduct these classes smoothly. A dedicated YouTube channel was also started for students of class 1 to 10th. Given the fact that many students were unable to afford a smartphone or faced connectivity issues, Mumbai civic body started Palak Mitra Balak Mitra scheme, wherein offline group learning was introduced. Under this scheme, over 13,000 individuals belonging to NGOs, community outfits, parents and youth volunteers were identified to either share resources like smartphones or provide space wherein students can learn while maintaining social distancing. Nisha Rani, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Himachal Pradesh, 90 fresh cases of COVID-19 were reported today, taking the total number of affected people to 6,705, while the death toll rose to 47 in the state. So far, 4,854 COVID patients have been cured in the state, while the number of active cases in the state now stands at 1,757. Meanwhile, the State Cabinet today decided to continue the process of registration for people entering the state till the 15th of this month. It also decided to open famous temples and religious places of the state by the 10th of this month. The Department of Language, Arts and Culture has been asked to prepare an SOP in this regard. On the other hand, the Cabinet has also decided to reduce the quarantine requirement from 14 days to 10 days. In Tamil Nadu, the number of COVID active cases has come down to about 51.6 thousand, with a recovery of more than 6,300 people. 5,976 people were tested positive in the state today. More from our correspondent.
The Chennai Corporation is testing the inmates of all the homes for the aged in the city, following reports that 58 elders in a care home were found COVID-19 positive in the last 3 days. It is said that visitors to the homes for the aged have registered an increase after the relaxations from the lockdown conditions since the 1st of this month. The affected elders have been admitted into various hospitals and health centers. Meanwhile, in Chennai, 40 commercial establishments have been sealed in a single day today for not following the safety protocols, like lack of crowd control. Officials have warned that strong actions will be initiated against non-compliance of standard operating procedures. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you views of leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Uma Kumar, Head of Rheumatology Department, AIMS, suggested to people to follow social distancing, hand hygiene and cough etiquettes.
Corona infection, it's a new infection and nothing much is known about this virus. You call it treatment or you call it prevention. The only thing which helps is social distancing or physical distancing. Along with it, you have like hand hygiene, washing your hands very frequently, and cough etiquettes like while coughing or sneezing, just cover your face and nose. Use tissue paper or cloth, or if you don't have anything, you can just cough into your elbows.
The government today said that in the current Kharif season, record area of over 1,095 lakh hectare has been covered. The sowing of rice still continues, while sowing of pulses, coarse cereals, millets and oilseeds is almost over. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar said there is no impact of COVID-19 on progress of area coverage under Kharif crops as on date. He said timely pre-positioning of inputs by government like seeds, pesticides, fertilizers, machinery and credit has made it possible for large coverage. Mr. Tomar said that credit goes to farmers for timely action and adoption of technologies and taking benefit of government schemes. Manipur and Madhya Pradesh have been paired for implementing the centre's ambitious scheme Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat Abhiyan. The people of both the states are involved in various activities for understanding art and culture, education, literature and traditions of each other. One of such activities, a Yuva Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat camp, was held in Imphal, where 50 youth from Madhya Pradesh participated and explored Manipur for 15 days. A report from our Imphal correspondent.
It was for 15 days from 19th of February that the Yuva Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat camp was held in Imphal. 50 youths from the different districts of Madhya Pradesh participated in the camp and they explored and learned many things about Manipur. While interacting with those youths who participated in the camp, they said that the sweet memories of Manipur attract and build emotional instinct with them. They recall many events conducted in Imphal and mentioned many tourist places, famous cuisine, customs of Manipur which they have learned while being in Manipur. One camper, Monica of Sehor district of Madhya Pradesh, said that now she has many friends in Manipur and the Yuva camp on Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat gave a right opportunity for them to know each other as a pair of states.
एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत का जो शिविर हमने वहाँ बताए उसमें हमको भी कुछ सीखने को मिला. अभी भी हम लोग एक दूसरे के कनेक्शन में हैं. Now the people of Manipur also emotionally connected with Madhya Pradesh, which is also known as Heart of India. JJ Thokchom from Imphal for AIR News.
Bharatiya Janata Party leader Syed Zafar Islam has been elected unopposed for the lone Rajya Sabha seat from Uttar Pradesh today. The election was necessitated following the demise of Rajya Sabha MP Amar Singh. Government of Bangladesh has suspended the jail sentence of former Prime Minister Khalida Zia for 6 more months on health grounds. Announcing this in Dhaka, Road Transport and Bridges Minister and Awami League General Secretary Obaidul Qadir said that the decision has been taken so that the 75-year-old leader can receive necessary medical treatment, reports the official news agency BSS. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. It will have a minimum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius and maximum of 33 degrees. Mumbai will experience generally cloudy sky with light rain. Minimum temperature will be 26 degrees. Maximum will be around 33. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. Temperature will hover between 26 and 35 degrees. Kolkata will witness partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Onto the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, minimum temperature will be 26 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while maximum will be around 34. The city will have a partly cloudy sky. In Srinagar, minimum temperature will be around 16 degrees, while the maximum will be 29. The city will have a partly cloudy sky. Ladakh will also have a partly cloudy sky. In Gilgit, temperature will hover between 15 and 22 degrees Celsius. It will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Muzaffarabad, there will be partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or a thunderstorm or dust storm. In Dehradun, temperature will hover between 25 and 34 degrees Celsius. Teachers' Day will be celebrated tomorrow. The day is celebrated to mark the birth anniversary of former President and great educationist Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. President Ramnath Kovind has greeted teachers across the country on the eve of Teachers' Day. The President will virtually confer national awards to teachers in New Delhi tomorrow. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India calls for open, transparent, inclusive, rule-based global security architecture. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh meets his counterparts at Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting in Moscow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts virtually with IPS probationers, asks them to be alert and prepared to take on challenges. Supreme Court rejects review plea to postpone JEE and NEET on account of coronavirus crisis. Health Ministry reviews COVID-19 response in 15 high caseload districts of 5 states. Recovery rate in the country improves to 77.15%. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.